Love That Dog. This is a chapter book by Sharon Creech, and it's the winner of the Newbery Medal for Walk Two Moons. I found this book, and it's poetry in the form of a chapter book, and just wanted to read it aloud to you. If we were in school, I would have some read alouds, and we'd gather up in a circle and we'd read aloud. So I did want to read this book out loud to you, and I'm striving for this taking about 30 minutes. So I'm gonna begin on page 1. It says Jack, and it doesn't actually have page 1, but Jack, room 105, Miss Stretchberry. September 13th. I don't want to, because boys don't write poetry, girls do. September 21st. I tried, can't do it, brains empty. September 27th. I don't understand the poem about the red wheelbarrow and the white chickens and why so much depends upon them. If that is a poem about red wheelbarrow and the white chickens, then any words can be a poem. You just got to make short lines. October 4th. Do you promise not to read it out loud? Do you promise not to put it on the board? Okay, here it is. But I don't like it. So much depends upon a blue car splattered with mud speeding down the road. October 10th. What do you mean? Why does so much depend upon a blue car? You didn't say that before, that I had to tell why. The wheelbarrow guy didn't tell why. October 17th. What was up with the Snowy Woods poem you read today? Why doesn't the person just keep going if he's got so many miles to go before he sleeps? And why do I have to tell more about the blue car splattered with mud speeding down the road? I don't want to write about that blue car that had miles to go before it slept, so many miles to go, in such a hurry. October 24th. I'm sorry to say I did not really understand the Tiger, Tiger, Burning Bright poem, but at least it sounded good in my ears. Here is the blue car with tiger sounds. Blue car, shining bright in the darkness of night, who could see you speeding by like a comet in the sky? I could see you in the night, blue car, shining bright. I could see you speeding by like a comet in the sky. Some of the tiger sounds are still in my ears, like drums, beat, beat, beating. October 31st. Yes, you can put the two blue car poems on the board, but only if you don't put my name on them. November 6th. They look nice, typed up like that, on blue paper, on a yellow board. But still, don't tell anyone who wrote them, okay? And what does anonymous mean? Is it good? November 9th. I don't have any pets, so I can't write about one, and especially I can't write a poem about one. November 15th. Yes, I used to have a pet. I don't want to write about it. You're going to ask me why not, right? November 22nd. Pretend I still have that pet. Can't make up a pet. A different one, like a tiger or a hamster, a goldfish, turtle, snail, worm, flea. November 29th. I liked those small poems we read today. When they're small, like that, you can read a whole bunch in a short time. And then in your head are all the pictures of all the small things from the poems. I liked how the kitten leaped in the cat poem, and how you could see the long head of the horse in the horse poem. And especially I liked the dog in the dog poem, because that's just how my yellow dog used to lie down with its tongue all limp and its chin between his paws, and how he'd sometimes chomp at a fly and then sleep in his loose skin, just like that poet, Miss Valerie Worth, says in her small dog poem. December 4th. Why do you want to type what I wrote about reading the small poems? It's not a poem, is it? I guess you can put it on the board if you want to, but don't put my name on it in case other people think it's not a poem. December 13th. I guess it does look like a poem when you see it typed up like that. But I think maybe it would look better if there was more space between the lines, like how I wrote it the first time. And I like the picture of the yellow dog you put beside it, but that's not how my yellow dog looked. January 10th. I really did not get that pasture poem you read today. I mean, somebody's going out to the pasture to clean the spring and to get the little tottery calf while he's out there, and he isn't going to be gone long, and he wants you, who is you, to come too. I mean, really. And you said that Mr. Robert Frost, who wrote about the pasture, was also the one who wrote about those snowy woods and the miles to go before he sleeps. Well, I think Mr. Robert Frost has a little too much time on his hands. January 17th. Remember the wheelbarrow poem you read the first week of school? Maybe the wheelbarrow poet was just making a picture with words, and someone else, like maybe his teacher, typed it up, and then people thought it was a poem because it looked like that one typed up like that. And maybe that's the same thing that happened with Mr. Robert Frost. Maybe he was just making pictures with words about snowy woods and the pasture, and his teacher typed them up and they looked like poems. So people thought they were poems. Like, how did, with the blue car things and reading the small poems thing on the board typed up, they looked like poems. And the other kids are looking at them and they think they are really poems. And they are saying, who wrote that? January 24th. We're going for a drive, and my father said, we won't be gone for long, you come too. And so I went, and we drove and drove until we stopped at a red brick building with a sign in blue letters, Animal Protection Shelter. And inside we walked down a long cement path past cages with all kinds of dogs, big and small, fat and skinny, some of them hiding in the corner, but most of them barking and jumping up against the wire cage as we walked past, as if they were saying, me, choose me. I'm the best one. And that's where we saw the yellow dog standing against the cage with his paws curled around the wire and his long red tongue hanging out and his big black eyes looking a little sad and his long tail wagging as if he were saying, me, choose me. And we did. We chose him. And in the car, he put his head against my chest and wrapped his paws around my arm as if he were saying, thank you. And the other dogs in the cages get killed dead if nobody chooses them. January 31st. Yes, you can type up what I wrote about my yellow dog, but leave off the part about the other dogs getting killed dead, because that's too sad. And don't put my name on it, please. And maybe it would look good on yellow paper. And maybe the title should be You Come Too. February 7th. Yes, it looks good on yellow paper, but you forgot, again, to leave more space between the lines like I did when you wrote it. That's okay though. February 15th. I like that poem we read today about street music in the city. My street is not in the middle of the city, so it doesn't have that loud music of horns and trucks, clash, flash, screech. My street is on the edge of a city, and it has quiet music most of the time. Wisp, meow, swish. My street is a thin one with houses on both sides, and my house is the white one with the red door. There is not too much traffic on my street, not like in the middle of a city. We play in the yards and sometimes in the streets, but only if a grown-up or big kids are out there too, and they will shout, "Car!" if they see a car coming down the street. At both ends of our street are yellow signs that say, "Caution, children at play." But sometimes the cars pay no attention, and they speed down the road as if they are in a big hurry with many miles to go before they sleep. February 21st. That was so great. Those poems you showed us, where the words made the shape of the thing that the poem is about, and the one about an apple that was shaped like an apple, and the one about a house that was shaped like a house. My brain was popping when I looked at those poems. I never knew a poet person could do that funny kind of thing. February 26th. I tried one of those poems that look like what it's about. My Yellow Dog by Jack. Sure, everybody's getting to see this page. It's a little bit hard to read, but I do love the parts where he puts sniff, 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 and slobber, 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 and he crosses the ear with the head to make the little acrostic type puzzle piece there. It's very clever in his My Yellow Dog by Jack. Turning the page. March 1st. Yes, you can type up the yellow dog poem that looks like a dog, but this time keep the spaces exactly the same, and maybe it will look really, really good on yellow paper. Maybe you could put my name on, but only if you want to. Only if you think it looks good enough. March 7th. I was a little embarrassed when people said things to me like, "Neat poem, Jack," and "How'd you think of that, Jack?" And I really, really like the one you put up about the tree that is shaped like a tree. Not a fake looking tree, but like a real tree with straggly branches. But I want to know, who is the anonymous poet? In our class, who wrote that, and why did he or she want to put his or her name on it? Was it like me when I didn't think my words were poems? Maybe you will tell the anonymous tree poet that his or her tree poem is really a poem, really, really a good poem too. March 14th. That was the best poem you read yesterday by Mr. Walter Dean Myers. The best poem ever. I am sorry I took the book home without asking. I only got one spot on it. That's why the page is torn. I tried to get the spot out. I copied that best poem, hung it on my bedroom wall right over my bed where I can see it when I'm lying down. Maybe you could copy it too and hang it on the wall in our class where we can see it when we are sitting at our desks doing our stuff. I sure like that poem by Mr. Walter Dean Myers called "Love That Boy" because of two reasons. I liked it. One is because my dad calls me in the morning just like that. He calls, "Hey there, son." And also because when I had my yellow dog, I loved that dog, and I would call him like this. I'd say, Hey there, Sky. His name was Sky. March 22nd. My yellow dog followed me everywhere. Every which way I turned, he was there, wagging his tail and slobber coming out of his mouth. When he was smiling at me, all the time as if he was saying, "Thank you, thank you, thank you for choosing me," and jumped up on me, his shaggy, straggly paws on my chest, like he was trying to hug the insides right out of me. And when us kids were playing outside, kicking the ball, he'd chase after it and push it with his nose. Push, 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 and getting slobber all over the ball. But no one cared because he was such a funny dog. That dog Sky, that straggly, furry, smiling dog Sky. And I'd call him every morning, every evening. Hey there, Sky. March 27th. Yes, you can type up what I wrote about my dog Sky, but don't type it up, that other secret one I wrote. The one all folded up in the envelope with tape on it. That one uses too many of Mr. Walter Dean Myers' words, and maybe Mr. Walter Dean Myers would get mad at that. April 4th. I was very glad to hear that Mr. Walter Dean Myers is not the sort of person who would get mad at a boy for using some of his words. And thank you for typing up my secret poem, the one that uses so many of Mr. Walter Dean Myers' words. And I like what you put at the top, inspired by Mr. Walter Dean Myers. That sounds good to my ears. No one will think I just copied, because I couldn't think of my own words. They will know I was inspired by Mr. Walter Dean Myers. But don't put it on the board yet, okay? Is Mr. Walter Dean Myers a live person? And if he is, do you think he could ever come to our city, to our school, to our class? And if he did, we should hide my poem with his words. Hide it real good, just in case he would get mad about that. April 9th. No. I can't do it. You shouldn't do it. You're a teacher. Oh, wait a minute, it says April 9th. No. I can't do it. You should do it. You're a teacher. We want those teachers to do things we don't want to do. April 12th. I don't agree that Mr. Walter Dean Myers might like to hear from a boy who likes his poems. I think Mr. Walter Dean Myers would like to hear from a teacher who uses big words and knows how to spell and to type. April 17th. Dear Mr. Walter Dean Myers, you probably don't want to hear from me because I am only a boy and not a teacher, and I don't use big words, and you probably won't read this. Or even if you do read it, you probably are way too busy to answer it, let alone do the thing I'm going to ask you. And I want you to know that's okay, because our teacher says writers are very, 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 very busy trying to write their words. And the phone is ringing, and the fax is going, and the bills need paying, and sometimes they get sick. I hope you are not sick, Mr. Walter Dean Myers. Or their family gets sick, or their electricity goes off, or the car needs fixing, or they have to go to the grocery store, or do the laundry, or clean up messes. I don't know how you find the time to write your words if you have all that stuff. And maybe you should get a helper. So what I'm asking you is this. If you ever get time to leave your house, and if you ever feel like visiting a school where there might be some kids who like your poems, would you ever maybe think about coming to our school, which is a clean place with mostly nice people in it, and I think our teacher Miss Stretchberry would maybe even make brownies for you, because she sometimes makes them for us. I hope I haven't too much stopped you from doing your writing of words and fixing your car and getting groceries and all that stuff just to read this letter, which probably is taking you maybe 15 minutes. And in that time, you could have maybe written a whole new poem, or at least the start of one. And so, I am sorry for taking up your time. And I understand if you can't come to our clean school and read some of your poems to us and let us see your face, which I bet is a friendly face. My name is Jack. By Mr. Walter Dean Myers. April 20th. Did you mail it? Did he answer it yet? April 24th. Months? It might take months for Mr. Walter Dean Myers to answer my letter. If he answers it, I didn't know until you explained that the letter has to go to Mr. Walter Dean Myers' publisher company, and then to someone at the publisher company has to sort the mail, not just my letter, but hundreds and hundreds of letters to hundreds of authors. All that big mess of mail piled up, and someone sorting all that mail. And then the letters for Mr. Walter Dean Myers go to him, and maybe he's away, maybe he's on vacation, maybe he's sick, maybe he's hiding in a room writing poems, maybe he's babysitting his children or his grandchildren if he's married and stuff, or maybe he has to go to the dentist or get the car fixed, or maybe someone died. I really hope someone did not die. So if you ask me, it could take him years to get around to answering that letter. So I guess we'd better just forget about it, not count on it, get it out of our minds, do something else, forget it. April 26th. Sometimes when you are trying not to think about something, it keeps popping back into your head. You can't help it. You think about it, and you think about it, and think about it until your brain feels like a squashed pea. May 2nd. Yes, you can type it up. The thing about it, trying not to think about it, something, but you'd better leave my name off of it, because it was just words coming out of my head, and I wasn't paying too much attention to which words came out when. May 7th. Maybe you could show me how to use the computer, and then I could type up my own words. May 8th. I didn't know about the spell checking thing inside the computer. It's like a miracle. Little brain in there, a little helper brain. But I'm a slow typer person. Did you say there is a teaching typing thing in that computer too? Will it help me type better and faster? Tap, 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 tap. So my fingers can go as fast as my brain? May 14th. I typed this up myself. My sky. We were outside in the street, me and some other kids, kicking the ball before dinner. And Sky was chasing, with his feet going every which way, and his tail wagging, and his mouth slobbering, and he was all over the place, smiling and wagging and slobbering and making us laugh. And my dad came walking up the street. He was way down there near the end. I could see him after he got off the bus, and he was walking, and I saw him wave, and he called out, "Hey there, son." And so I didn't see the car coming from the other way until someone else said, one of the big kids called out, "Car!" And I turned around and I saw a blue car, splattered with mud, speeding down the road. And I saw Sky going after the ball, wag, wag, wagging his tail. And I called him, "Sky, Sky!" And he turned his head, but it was too late because the blue car, splattered with mud, hit Sky. Thud, 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 and kept on going in such a hurry, so fast, so many miles to go, it couldn't even stop. And Sky was just there in the road, lying on his side, with his legs bent funny and his side heaving, and he looked up at me, and I said, "Sky, Sky, Sky!" And then my dad was there, and he lifted Sky out of the road and laid him on the grass. And Sky closed his eyes, and he never opened them again, ever. May 15th. I don't know. If you put it on the board and people read it, it might make them sad. May 17th. Okay, I guess I'll put my name on it, but I hope it doesn't make people feel too sad. And if it does, maybe you could think of something to cheer everybody up, like maybe with some of those brownies you make, the chocolate ones. They are so good. Wow. Oh, May 21st. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That was the best news ever. I can't believe it. Mr. Walter Dean Myers is really coming to our school. He was coming to our city anyway to see his old buddy. And he would be honored to visit our clean school and meet the mostly nice kids who like his poems. We sure are lucky that his old buddy lives in our town. Wow! May 28th. The bulletin board looks like it's blooming words with everybody's poems up there on all those colored sheets of paper. Yellow, blue, pink, green, red, green. And the bookcase looks like it's sprouting books, all of them by Mr. Walter Dean Myers, lined up, looking back at us, waiting for Mr. Walter Dean Myers himself to come to our school, right into our classroom. Wow. May 29th. I can't wait. I can't sleep. Are you sure you hid my poem that was inspired by Mr. Walter Dean Myers? I don't want to do anything to upset him. June 1st, Mr. Walter Dean Myers Day. I never in my whole life ever heard anybody who could talk like that. Mr. Walter Dean Myers. All of my blood in my veins was bubbling, and the thoughts in my head were buzzing, and I wanted to keep Mr. Walter Dean Myers at our school forever. June 6th. Dear Mr. Walter Dean Myers, thank you 100 billion times for leaving your work and your family and your things people have to do to come visit us in our school and our class. We hope you liked your visit, and we think maybe you did because you were smiling all over the place. And when you read your poems, you had the best voice. Low and deep and friendly and warm, like it was reaching out and wrapping us all up in a big squeeze. And when you laughed, you had the best laugh I've ever heard in my life. Like it was coming from way down deep and bubbling up and rolling and tumbling out into the air. We hope we didn't ask you too many questions, but we thank you for answering every which one, especially for saying that you would be flattered if someone used some of your words, and especially if they added a note that they were inspired by Walter Dean Myers. And it was nice of you to read all of our poems on the bulletin board, and I hope it didn't make you too sad when you read the one about my dog, Sky, getting smushed in the road. And I think you liked the brownies too, right? Thank you for coming to see us, Mr. Walter Dean Myers. Inside this envelope is a poem using some of your words. I wrote it. It was inspired by you, Mr. Walter Dean Myers, from your #1 fan, Jack. Love That Dog, inspired by Walter Dean Myers by Jack. Love that dog, like a bird loves to fly. I said I love that dog, like a bird loves to fly. Love to call him in the morning, love to call him, hey there, Sky. Some of the other poems used by Miss Stretchberry. So these are some of the poems he referred to in his book. The Red Wheelbarrow by William Carlos Williams. So much depends upon a red wheel barrow, glazed with rain, water, beside the white chickens. Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and the frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year, he gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there's some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. The Tiger by William Blake. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? Dog by Valerie Worth. Under a maple tree, the dog lies down, lolls his limp tongue, yawns, rests his long chin carefully between front paws, looks up, alert, chops with heavy jaws at a slow fly, blinks, rolls on his side, sighs, closes his eyes, sleeps all afternoon in his loose skin. The Pasture by Robert Frost. I'm going out to clean the pasture spring. I'll only stop to rake the leaves away and wait to watch the water clear. I may. I shan't be gone long. You come too. I'm going out to fetch a little calf that's standing by the mother. It's so young, it totters when she licks it with her tongue. I shan't be gone long. You come too. Street Music by Arnold Adolphe. This city, the always noise grinding up from the subways underground, slamming from bus tires and taxi horns and engines of cars and trucks and all. Vocabularies of clash, flash, screeching, hot metal language combinations as planes overhead roar, an orchestra of rolling drums and battle blast, assaulting my ears with the always noise of this city. Street Music. The apple. It's one of those shapes. Stem. Apple, apple, apple. Apple, yum, yum. Apple, yum. Juicy, 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 juicy. Crunchy, 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 crunchy. Red, yellow, green. Red, yellow, green. Red, yellow, green. Apple, 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 apple. And then it goes on to yum, delicious, and yum, and delicious, and yum, 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 yum. And then it gets to wormy, and worm, and yuck, yuck, and worm, and yuck, and ooh, back to yum, and yum, delicious, delicious, yum, delicious, and apple, 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 and red, yellow, green, red, crunchy, crunchy, juicy, juicy, apple and apple. That's a very interesting one to read. I missed a few words there. Love that boy. This one's by Walter Dean Myers. Love that boy, like a rabbit loves to run. I said I love that boy, like a rabbit loves to run. Love to call him in the morning. Love to call him, hey there, son. So that's the one he used when he wrote his poem about Sky. And there are some literature circle questions. We'll venture into those this week. I just wanted to read you the whole book and hope you enjoy listening to it. Hope you reread it on your own. And I found this caution sign. It reminded me of this book. So it says, caution, kids at play. There's lots of things in this poetry book that remind me of what's going on in our world today. So I just want to remind you to exercise caution when you're outside playing and running and playing with any kind of ball or with your dogs, and getting out into nature. Watch out for the critters that might be below your feet. But I do want you to be observant of all of the things in nature or all the things that are going on around you, and you might use those in writing your own poetry. So I do want you to take a risk in writing some of your own words in the form of poetry. There's a lot of different forms of poetry out there that you can mimic or you can somewhat imitate in your own way with some things that are relevant to what's going on with you, or with your animals, or with your family, with your siblings. So anyway, I want you to try to take a risk over the next few weeks. Write some poetry, write some words down. So the beauty of poetry is the sentence structures don't have to be like sentence structures. They can be fluid and moving, and you can repeat words, and you can use phrases. You can use a lot of onomatopoeias. Those are those sound words, and you can be a little bit more creative with poetry. So you can investigate different styles of poetry, and on the web there's a lot of different websites that can give you some further instructions on poetry. So one, we have to interpret what people are trying to they're trying to tell us with poetry. So we have to try to read poetry and figure out what they're trying to say. But on the other hand, we can be the inventor of the poetry with things that are going on around us. So while this book had some things that were probably sad, and there were a lot of things in there that were happy. He was very happy about the author coming to visit. So that is one thing about poetry. It does tend to bring out the emotions that we are experiencing. So some of them could be sad emotions, or they could be happy emotions. So those are some exciting things that are happening. I hope you enjoy listening to the book. I wanted to introduce you to Cooper. Come here, Cooper. Come here. Will you come here? I was going to show you my dog that lives at my house. Cooper, come here. Cooper, come. Well, I don't want to yell too much. Cooper. So I have a dog also I was going to show you, because in this book there's a lot of things going on in this book that relate to things that are going on in my house. I have a dog. He's not yellow, but he's beautiful. We think he's pretty handsome. I like to cook a lot, so they talked about making brownies, and we've been doing a lot of that. Come here, Cooper. Over here. Come here. Come here. Oh, that's a good boy. Yeah. Come here, around here. He's got his toy. Bring me your toy. I'll have to show you him playing fetch. How about that? Want to show? Okay, Cooper. Oh, you're a good boy. Oh, that's a good boy. He can stay busy with fetch for hours. And he just had a bath, so he looks all shiny and clean. Cooper, can you do another trick like sit? Oh, that's a good boy. I don't even know. Oh, I'm not getting it. Not getting it at all. What a good boy. So, I am missing getting to see you in class every day and read or write with you. So, I think I'm going to send you some more videos along the way so we can stay in touch. Please have your parents send me some messages every once in a while. Let me know how you're doing, or show me something fantastic that you would like to show me, some accomplishments that you're doing. Maybe you're getting to cook in the kitchen. We're getting to do a lot of that. So anyway, signing off and see you later. Bye from Miss Ford.